welcome back to my kitchen. But in case this is the first time you're stopping by, my name is Gina and I'm a wife and mother from the Midwest. I enjoy cooking fresh meals for my family and sometimes I share my recipes with you here on YouTube. And today I am going to be sharing a super easy and economical recipe for tacos dorados. And what that is, in case you don't know, is Mexican style crunchy tacos. And the ones that we are doing are de papa, which is of potato. So I guess without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into our ingredients. So obviously, since these are de papa, we need 2 potatoes. These are pretty big, so if you have smaller ones, do 3, but there's not really any specific measurements for this recipe. You can increase it or decrease it, and it's kind of by taste. So 2 potatoes, they're probably, in this recipe, this is probably like a pound each, so probably 2 pounds of potatoes. Optional is onions. I'm going to fry these onions. We like onions, but that's totally optional, and I'm using yellow just because that's what I had extra of. We're going to be adding queso fresco inside of ours, but again, that's optional. You can change the cheese or omit it totally. And then to season it up, we're going to be using some Nor Suiza, which in case you don't know what that is, it is caldo de pollo en polvo, or Mexican style chicken bouillon powder. You can substitute this with salt if you are not down with MSG. Just throwing that out there. We're going to need a little bit of black pepper and then some butter because butter makes everything better. As a side note, I grew these flowers in my garden, and that's why I've been absent for you guys for a while. It's so busy this summer with the amount of vegetables, and it's very time consuming. So I'm sorry I've been neglecting you, but I'm here today with a good recipe. Anyways, back to our ingredients. You're going to need some oil for frying, and then you're going to need some tortillas. Don't make these with flour tortillas. This recipe is made for corn tortillas. I don't think that the flour ones would hold up well enough. They would burn very fast. I used to make flautas sometimes with flour ones, but I mean, it's up to you. If you want to experiment, go ahead, but I don't recommend it. And these are the bomb diggity tortillas here in Chicago. We've been having a problem getting a hold of them because they've been having staffing issues at the factory. So I grabbed like 11 packages last week and like hoarded them. But anyways, tortillas, I've got 12 here. I might use more. I've got more in the fridge. And then lastly, for serving, we are going to be using my salsa roja para guisados, which I have a video up for, and I will link it in the description below. But it's just a very mild, loose tomato sauce, if you will, that is flavored with some garlic and some jalapeno. You could substitute this for the little jar that says El Pato on it if you wanted to, if you don't have access to a salsa like this or want to make one. And then we like to serve it also with lettuce, sour cream, cotija cheese, and then these are quick pickled onions. This is so hot right now. I actually just made them. It's just 1 red onion that has been sliced super thin, and then I boiled 3/4 of a cup of vinegar. I used apple cider, 1/4 cup of water, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a tablespoon of honey, and then bring that to a boil. Pour it over your onions. I put in about 1/4 teaspoon of black peppercorns, and you let it sit while you make your recipe. And this is so good. Don't omit this. So I'm going to go ahead and throw my phone on the charger for a minute because I'm running out of battery here, and start prepping our potatoes. All right, guys. So we have our onions that I sliced up nice and thin into a half moon or mezzaluna shape. I've got them simmering away here, sauteing on top of the stove in about half of a tablespoon of oil and 1/2 tablespoon of butter. We're going to let this go on medium-low heat until these caramelize. I tossed in a little bit of salt because the salt helps us evaporate the liquid inside of these onions a little bit more quickly. And we want to get a nice and caramelized color on these because it is going to add loads of flavor to a simple potato taco. So this is going to take the longest in regards to cook time. So I want to get these on first. And now I will go ahead and peel our potatoes. All right, guys, so here we go. I've got our potatoes sliced up into semi-large chunks. I cut each potato in half and then each half in 2 quarters, and then cut the quarters into 4 pieces each in case you need that information. I put the potatoes in cold water. Whenever you're cooking potatoes for boiling, you want to start it off with cold water because if you put them in boiling water, the outside of the potato cooks faster than the inside because the inside takes longer to come to temperature. So this is cold water with probably a teaspoon of salt in there. We're going to go ahead and simmer these until they're fork tender and let these finish up. And in the meantime, I'm going to come back here and I am going to throw this in a saucepan and let this simmer and thicken up a little bit. Our pickled onions are cooling and looking good. I don't need to crumble the cotija because it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and shred this lettuce up and break up our queso fresco, because once the potatoes are done, we're going to finish the filling and it comes together pretty quickly. All right, guys, excuse all the oil on my oven top. I was frying some pesto eggs a little bit ago and I just didn't want to start a big project and cook this, because this dish, I will warn you, takes like, I feel, a lot of pots and pans and dishes, but it's totally worth it. So our onions are done. These are off the heat. They're just nice and translucent, but also caramelized. We're not looking for any type of crunch or over browning on them, because that'll result in like sticky bits in your teeth, which is good in like a masoor dal tadka, but it's not good in this. So just a nice even caramelization. I have my homegrown, completely homegrown and homemade salsa that I canned last week. I've got a couple other jars and I'm super proud of this. So as you can see, it's like a loose spaghetti sauce consistency, and this is just really delicious. It's mild. It's made with tomatoes, jalapenos, onion, garlic, nor suiza, and water pretty much. And that's what this is. So this is heating up because we want it to be nice and hot. We've got our cheese crumbled up here. And then I have our mushing station right here. So our potatoes boiled for 10 minutes and they were just perfect. I was actually gifted this by Priority Chef. I'm going to try it for the first time right now and we're going to see how it works. It's a ricer. I've never actually had a ricer. Man, these are hot. Scheiße. I wonder how many I can put in. This is not a paid promotion or anything, so I'm literally going to let you guys know, like, does it work good? Does it not work good? It's really hard to do with one hand. Let's see if I can... Nope, I'm going to have to do this with two hands, but it is working. So let me go ahead and rice these potatoes, and then I'm also going to run our onions through the ricer as well. I'll be back and show you how we season this up before we start doing our assembling of our taquitos. All right, guys, so we're back. I went ahead and I riced those potatoes. I tried to rice the onion, but like in case you were wondering, like ricing onion is not a thing if it's cooked. Couldn't get it through there. I don't think it has anything to do with that ricer. I just don't think that works out. So anyway, so those are in there. I dumped the onions in there, the potato. I added about half of the shredded or crumbled cheese that we had, and about a teaspoon of nor suiza, tablespoon and a half of butter, and probably about a quarter teaspoon of black pepper. I'm gonna go ahead and mix this up and just taste it. Like, you're gonna like yours different than I like mine, so add the ingredients you want to add, mix it up, taste it, see if it needs a little extra salt or a little extra nor suiza, maybe more cheese. And then once this comes together, we're gonna heat our tortillas and assemble our tacos, and we're gonna get frying. All right, guys, so this is what our filling looks like. This turned out so good. It looks a little bit dry, and it will while you're mixing it, but as you can see when you touch it, it comes together and it holds together nicely. So I ended up adding another quarter of the cheese, so 3/4 of that block, and it was the queso fresco from Aldi's. I don't know how many ounces it was, but this is ready to go. It tastes perfectly seasoned. Next thing I'm gonna do is I've got this pan here, which is dry with water spots on it, and I'm just gonna go ahead and heat our tortillas up. We don't want them to crisp up at all. You're just heating them for, I don't know, maybe 10-15 seconds on each side until they're malleable. And I'm going to throw them in my tortilla warmer. Okay, so we are assembling our taquitos. So I'm showing you the 2 steps. First, you're going to put a little bit of filling inside of your tortilla. I'd say it's probably about a tablespoon and a half. You don't want to overfill these because you want to be able to fold it like this and add 2 toothpicks, and this is what actually keeps them sealed for frying. So I'm going to go ahead and make all of these like this, and I'll be back to show you how long we cook them. Alrighty, so we got our tacos. I have some extra filling, which I'm just going to save on the side and assemble fresh ones later if I want to, but you could assemble these and freeze them, and you can fry them from defrosted or frozen. I've done both. You can assemble them and keep them in the fridge, or you can do like I'm doing and just keep it to the side. So we have our our oil heating up. A good test to see if your oil is hot enough for me is you could smell it, or you can see it shimmering from the top. See how the reflection of the light? Or you toss in a toothpick and it's frying, which means we're ready to go. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and carefully place one of our tacos in. Got about a 1/2 inch of oil in here. You don't really need more than that because we're gonna flip them. So being as frying with oil with your hand and not having both hands and videotaping is very difficult and dangerous. I'm gonna go ahead and fry these off, and I'll be back in a second to show you when they're done. Okie dokie, so this is what they look like when they're ready. They're light golden brown. They're nice and crisp. These are super hot, but if I were to push them, they would crack, but I don't want to do that because of how we're going to serve them. But they're beautiful and ready to go. I'm going to fry up another 2 and leave these out to the side until Daniel gets home because these are best when they're hot and fresh. Don't fry them and store them in the refrigerator. They won't be good like that. Fry them fresh. So I'll be back to show you what they look like prepared and get a taste test. Guys, here's Daniel's plate. Looking good.
It looks really good. Delicious.
Do you hear the crunch, people?
They are delicious.
What do you think of the fried onions inside? Different, right?
Really tasty. Really delicious. Thank you.
All right, guys, this is my version of tacos dorados de papa and kind of casi ahogado. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if you loved it, I'd super appreciate it if you could subscribe. I can't believe my channel has gotten this far. It really warms my heart watching you guys like, subscribe, comment especially. I answer every single comment, so if you have a question, go ahead and pop one below. And definitely try this recipe. It is worth all of the dishes. It takes a whole side of this plus that. Worth it 100%. So as you guys can see, we have none left either. So I guess we ate them all. Anyways, thanks so much and have a great night.